Hi everyone, it's Rax, bringing you one more leveling guide for the Last Epoch League start that is happening, I believe, tomorrow. This is going to be the Sentinel leveling guide, which is going to be leveling up as a Javelin Paladin. But remember, you can respec in the next patch, so you can go Paladin or Void Knight or Forge Guard. And when you're done with this leveling guide, and if you look at the tier list for endgame corruption here, Void Knights and Paladins and even Forge Guards are kind of dominating all of the top of the ranking system. So Erasing Strike Void Knight, Judgment Paladin, Warpath Void Knight, all of these should be absolutely incredible builds. And I think a lot of people are going to go Paladin or Void Knight. And I think that a Paladin or a Void Knight has a very good chance to win the hardcore Uber Aberoth race because Paladins are pretty much unkillable. So this leveling process is going to be completely amazing. It ramps up very well in the end game, and then you can transition into a bunch of godly builds. So let me show you a couple of gameplays throughout the campaign on what it's going to look like. In the very beginning, you're going to use Rive, and Rive itself is, I don't know, it's not that aesthetically pleasing. You kind of just swing your sword. But the main thing I want you to notice is you're spawning all those little flamey swords that go everywhere and chop everything down. When you get them when you kill monsters or when you hit rares or bosses. And when you have a lot of those swords up, they just float around and essentially just murder everything for you. So it's very good boss killer, very good elite killer. Not the best on the trash. You can even weave in some hammers if you want a range thing. You can even use Warpath if you want for a little bit of spin to win as you do the trash. But we're not going to play this forever. The idea is to switch to Paladin and do Javelin, and Javelin is going to be completely incredible. One of the best skills in the game for trash, and that's going to solve that as we take down this boss very easily with all of our little swords in just a few seconds. The next clip I want to show you is what does it look like when you actually get... Oh, can I Control Z that? Well, there goes everything that I wanted to show you, of course. Hopefully this is a good spot as well. Yeah, so you have Javelin and you just throw it forward and it throws that little holy trail. That little trail has actually nothing holy about it. It's fire and lightning damage. But you just throw it ahead of you and then walk forward on it, and the monsters will follow you, and when they step on it, they'll just die instantly. The scaling of this does very well in the campaign, as you're going to see when we get some of the passives and when we get the Ornate Scepter. It's really over. The monster's just going to follow you. It's going to be ticking for hundreds, if not thousands of damage. And in the campaign, that's enough to just essentially delete everything. Watch the monsters follow me. When I was playing this build, one of my viewers said, Rax, why don't you kill any of the monsters? I said, buddy, I'm killing all of the monsters. I just throw my Javelin, it makes the trail, and I run forward. They step on it and they die. So your XP is going to be very high all the time playing this build. Remember how I said Paladins are so tanky? You want to see how tanky? These are the two strongest bosses together, the Wengari and Act 7. This is going to be like the final boss fight, one of the final boss fights that you have. Oh, yeah, my Paladin just stands in all the meteors. If my Umbral Blade Falconer stood in that, for example, he would die instantly. Like, no chance he survives. Paladin, that tickles. It's because we're wearing a shield. It's because the passives are so defensive. It's because every time we swing Rive, we proc Healing Hands, which is just keeping me alive. There's nothing they can do about it. So you can weave in the Javelin and then the Rive and have all the swords and the Flame Trail. And there's nothing they can do about it. It's just a matter of time before everything dies. La 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 la. You can't do anything. It's like Borat. You'll never get this. And there we go. Nice and easy. So let me explain to you the progression here and exactly how this works. So the pros: unkillable, insane damage, smooth playstyle, super easy gearing. Cons: clunky, clear. I think when you get the Javelin, it's fine. Multiple button build, kind of, but not really. Throw Javelins, dash forward. On bosses, also use Rive. That literally is multiple buttons, but it's easy. The respecking is really not a problem. Never had mana issues either until way later, but usually then you can solve it. By the way, this is written by Tarek on Maxroll. He's like a world record speed runner for Last Epoch for many years. He's a god. Go throw him a follow. Go throw him a like, guys. And he speaks French. If you're a French speaker, you guys will be great friends. Okay, so here we go. How do we start out? You start out with hammer throws. You don't even have to spec it because you only use it for one level. And you have your lunge. Then almost immediately you're gonna get Rive. Now I'm gonna go through the main things on the tree that you're gonna want to pay attention to. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go over here for Foe Cleaver. If you use a two-handed weapon, it's going to give you the effect of the damage stats as doubled, and it's going to give you the effect of the ailment chance stats as doubled. So this is going to be insane for Rive. So any kind of ailments that you can get or really juicy stats on the weapon, that's what's going to make it do so much damage. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to max out the bound weapon. This is what gives us those little swords that fly around. The swords just absolutely murder. And then with our final points, we're going to go over here to take away the third strike. And the reason why we do that is because we have higher attack speed and we have shred armor on the first two strikes. Really, the main point is just to get those buffs and then just spawn forged weapons. That's what we're doing here. Next, we will spec Healing Hands. And the most important thing is really the thing right in the beginning. The Healing Hands chance on melee hit. When you melee, you cast Healing Hands. What is Healing Hands? Healing Hands is just a heal. So it's just going to keep you alive. This is the reason why those Wengari can't kill me. I just keep swinging and you can't kill me. It's simple as that. Then finally, we're going to wind our way over here and we're going to get a ward per 10% of our healing effectiveness. There's a lot of synergy here with healing with the Paladin. So this is just another thing that just makes it beautiful and why swinging Rive even in the endgame will just keep you alive. That's why it's such a great choice for hardcore. Now, the Javelin is really easy to understand. What we're doing with it is the Holy Trail. It's not, is it called Holy Trail? Why do I keep calling it that? Okay, it's literally called Holy Trail, but it does fire and lightning damage. It doesn't do holy damage. But so we're going to scale this as much as we possibly can. And this scales with like spell damage, fire damage, lightning damage, fire pen, lightning pen, things like that, which is a little bit counterintuitive because Rive was scaling with physical, melee, and strength, right? You see Javelin, it scales with physical, throwing, strength, and dex. But if you check the tag of the Holy Trail, if you hold Alt here, you can't see it on the Maxroll guide, but you could see it in game, it scales with spell stuff. So we go get the Holy Trail first, and then essentially we just take everything at the top. More fire damage, more lightning damage. We go over here for the spell damage for 5% of the healing effectiveness. More spell damage is going to make us do more damage. Then finally, we're going to go over here. We're going to get the damages over time. Then we're going to go over here and get the increased damage. The attack speed penalty, we're not really going to feel it because we throw the Javelin. It burns for a while. It has a cooldown. And then later on, we throw it again. What we're spamming is Rive because it also spams Healing Hands. You don't even have to put Healing Hands on your bar. It automatically triggers when you swing on Rive. So there's lots of great synergy in this build. So we throw a Javelin, we walk forward through the trail, they follow us, they die, and then when we get to a boss, we put the trail under them, swing, swing, swing with Rive, trail, swing, 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 they're dead. They can't kill you. For most of the abilities, you don't even have to step out of them. You can just get hit by them. They won't be able to kill you. As we get a little bit further, we're going to get more points in our skills, and we're going to add Symbols of Hope. I believe Symbols of Hope is actually getting a redesign next league. Currently, it's kind of annoying. You have to like cast it, and it spins around you, and it has a duration. Well, now it says every 2 seconds, it summons a symbol that orbits you, and it's going to cause your attacks and spells to deal more fire damage and give you health regen, and then you can consume them if you want for 100 ward and 5% less damage taken. So if this, it seems like it happens automatically, which is going to be amazing. Very first thing we're going to go get is the damage granted per the active symbol. And then we are going to go over here to get one additional symbol, and that's going to be most of the value of it over here. Then we go over here for things like the recovery speed. But the increased damage and the extra symbol is just going to make us cook even harder. In the final setup, unless you want to stay like Javelin Paladin, I actually don't think many people are going to get this far. You add things like Holy Aura, which is going to give you more damage, and Judgment and Multi-Strike. But really, I played Javelin pretty much all the way through to where you're going to respec, which would be somewhere around level 70. So you can continue all the way into the Judgment and Multi-Strike if you want, but I have a feeling a lot of you will be respecing into like Erasing Strike or Warpath, or maybe you stick with Javelin or go a full Judgment Paladin. But if you get this far and you want to stick with this build, here it is until you pick an endgame build. But I don't think we need to cover it too much. The rest of it will carry you pretty much the whole way. Okay, let's cover the passives. What you're going to notice is almost all the passives are defense for a while, and then we're going to get some crazy ones for damage. So the first thing we have to do, we're forced to, is we put 20 points in Sentinel. So if we look at the 20 points that we have to put in, Strength, Fire Res, Void Res. This is another reason why Paladins are borderline unkillable. They get so much resistance from the passive tree that it's pretty easy. You stack health and like Fizz Res on your gear, and that's it. Armor, and then damage taken from nearby enemies goes down. It's going to keep you alive. Mana gained, health gained, keep you alive, right? Now we're going into the Paladin tree, and the real juicy stuff starts right here. Heaven's Bulwark. You have additional spell damage while you have a shield equipped. Spell damage with a shield +5, reduced damage taken from crits by 30%. Getting 30 spell damage this early for the trail of the Javelin, which does the most of your damage while you're running through the game, is massive. It's just such a huge damage increase. When you get these 10 points, you're absolutely cooking. Okay, then we're going to move forward. We're going to take these 5 points for the health regen. We get necrotic res, we get health. We're staying alive much easier. We put 5 points here, another 15 all res. We get armor, we get cast speed, and then we're finally going to go back to the beginning for the increased fire damage, the increased lightning damage, and then the fire pen and the lightning pen. Even the physical damage will help you with Rive. So the synergy of this node into this node into this node into this node is just completely insane. We go a little bit further, and then we're going to get this for the more melee attack speed and the fire pen, which is super juicy. And then finally, we're going to get more Holy Aura and Symbols of Hope effect, which hopefully we should be using both of those. We're just going to be torching everything, and nothing's going to be able to kill us with the passives. That's like a pretty high level overview there of what we're doing. When we start out, remember Rive gets that two-hander stat bonus thing. So when you get like chance to ignite over there or damages over time, you're going to be murdering everything. Then you're just going to be looking for a better two-hander later. Silver rings will help you run fast. We're looking for life. We're looking for physical res. A lot of your problems are going to be solved from your passive tree. Then when you switch to your Javelin, we need spell damage. We need damage over time. Look how beautiful this Ornate Scepter is at 36. Look at the implicits. 25 melee damage, that'll help us with Rive. 30 spell damage, that'll help us with our Holy Trail. 60% increased elemental damage. Ooh, fire and lightning from the trail. Absolutely cooking everything. This body armor has 35 Fizz Res implicit. That's amazing. We have Fizz Res right here and physical damage. That will help us with Rive. We've got a shield on. Grab as much health as you possibly can. As you get further, you can get 60% increased fire damage from this commandment, the solar commandment here. So you can get some really, really nice bases. The 15% endurance here with the 80% fire is insane. This base, when you find it later on. So if you play this really far into the end game, you're going to get some really, really nice stuff that's going to help you. Again, it's about health and Fizz Res, damages over time, fire and lightning, at least as long as you're using Javelin. That's how the gear looks. Talked about a lot of this already. Damages over time are extremely strong, very, very in the early game. Ignite, poison, bleed. Health, Fizz Res, endurance, vitality, anything with block. Spell damage for your Javelin, fire and lightning damage, levels to your skills, all that good stuff. And I I think that's about it. There's a loot filter that Tarek has made for you. I also have my own loot filter that I made specifically for this build that I'll attach for you there. And that's pretty much it, guys. This is extremely comfortable. It ramps so hard. You start out with just Rive here. Start out with just Rive, and you add healing hands to it that auto triggers. You finally get the Javelin with the Holy Trail. Just gonna murder everything. It scales with spell damage. So look for a wand or eventually those ornate scepters. Later on, we're going to add Symbols of Hope. Looks like it's just going to auto-trigger next patch. That's going to feel amazing. There is a final setup. If you do get this far and you want to keep going with it, then you can look at Multi-Strike and a Judgment here. And there's also a full Judgment endgame guide. That's it, man. It's nice and easy. Very comfortable. Extremely good for hardcore. Probably the best choice for hardcore. No issues here at all. I really hope that this helped you. And if you guys are starting Paladin, this is the way to do it. And I will be doing a practice run. It'll be by the time this video comes out today, right before the launch of the season. And the Last Epoch will be going down for 24 hours, but you can play offline. So we'll just play offline, nice and easy. I hope this helped you guys. I hope you guys have a great day. Thank you.